What's up, y'all? Thanks for listening to another episode of Get Real with Kacey Kasem. It's the podcast going behind the scenes of the fantasy sports industry through interviews with some of your faves in the biz. On this episode, I sat down with Jemo The Icon. You might know Jemo from his YouTube show, The Icon Show, a live show Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. We had a fantastic conversation about what The Icon Show is all about, attending the Fantasy Football Expo, Seal, the singer not the animal, Chicago pizza, trading in redraft leagues, Tom Brady's handsomeness, and a whole lot more. Make sure to follow Jemo on Twitter at Jemo The Icon. You can follow me on Twitter at the Kacey Kasem and the podcast at GetReal_pod. This podcast is a proud member of the DAP Network. Thank you so much to Trophy Smack for being an affiliate of Get Real with Kacey Kasem. This is a spot to check out if you're looking for fantasy football trophies, belts, rings, draft boards, and more. I have an affiliate link in the description below. Go check that out in order to view all the rad items that they have there. I've been a fan of theirs for a while, and they're definitely good people over there. Okay, and now here's my conversation with Jemo The Icon on Get Real with Kacey Kasem. Try this out, Jemo. I'm so excited.
Right.
Are you excited? You
Yeah,
better be. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this. It's been, we've been sitting here trying to figure out my new computer, so I have no excuses for sitting on my ass and not putting out any more episodes. Like, I need to just do it, but it's hard learning. I don't like to learn unless it's on this show, but I guess we'll get into it. But anyway, Jemo, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fantastic, Kacey. Thank you first so much for having me. It's usually I'm on the other side of things, and it feels kind of weird being in this seat now. So I'm Philip usually drives the train or the ship or whatever you call it, because I may indulge in some other things while doing my show, and I may have indulged a little bit tonight, but why not? Thank you.
It makes things, a little bit more smooth, a little bit more, flowing, friendly. So
definitely. But no, thank you so much, Kacey. I appreciate it. And I love what you do, and you're a good-hearted person, and you're just awesome. So thanks.
Well, this isn't a show about me. I appreciate that. That's super nice of you to say. Oh, I'm glad that I got you on the show because you're such a nice dude, and you're such you're just such a likable guy. You're so friendly. You've been somebody that I've, watched grow a following and put out awesome content. And we'll get into all of that. We're getting into all of that. And we'll give you all the compliments as we go, so. But before we touch on all that, I want to just go back to the root of why everybody on Twitter goes crazy, and that's fantasy football. And I want to know, how exactly did you get started playing fantasy football? What was the story behind that?
So I started back in Chicago with a group, 12 of us, and we had one league for literally 20 plus years, and we're still in that league together. It was just that one league that I got into, and before all this, you'd have to read the newspaper and, go online, but there wasn't too much of a fantasy football community as there is now, where everybody's got a show and you should be, following this person and that person and what have you. And there's just so much useful information out there that people can use nowadays, versus when I started 20 something years ago or whatever doing it. But and then I got into a bunch of other different leagues. My thing was always just redraft because that's all I knew. And I first, when was it? I started Dynasty and stuff like that a couple of years ago, but I just recently dropped out of a lot of those things because it's a little too much. I get it, and it seems really fun. I just don't have the time or dedication for it, but I applaud those who do. But yeah, I'm a redraft guy. That's my preference.
And that's totally cool because to me, I don't like to pick sides because it's like having to pick between, a favorite parent or something. So I'm like, whatever. But, you brought up Dynasty. So your first league was just straight redraft. Was there any wrinkles or anything in there? Or was it just your basic cut and dry? This is what it is.
Basic cut and dry. That's what it was. At the time, there was a defense and was a kicker. And what was it? Maybe a handful of years ago, we got rid of those two positions and added the flex spot.
See, we haven't gotten rid of those in my home league. We have the flex.
Right.
Well, we have the kicker and the defense too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And that's okay. Kickers
yeah.
matter.
Yes,
Kickers
they
matter.
do. And they make interesting,
Yeah.
well, like Scott Fishbowl, for instance. I mean,
Sure.
yeah. And we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But you talked about how there wasn't all this information out there now, or like there is now, and
Right.
how it was, and how amazing is it to have like an app on your phone now that you can use to do a lot of that work.
Right. And it's awesome too. But at the same time, if you're trying to set your lineups in the 47 different leagues you're in, and you have Sleeper going, you have ESPN,
Yes.
you have the NFL app, you have whatever else is there,
Yeah.
There's so many apps out there, and it's just very hard to keep up. So, but yeah, there is a ton of information out there. You yourself provide very useful information. So thank you.
At one point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you brought up Chicago as well. And so I'm guessing that you grew up there. Where are you now?
I live in Massachusetts. So I'm actually closer. I live closer to Providence, Rhode Island than I do to Boston. Massachusetts is nice. I'm used to like gunshots and sirens, and I move out here and it's all deers and rabbits where you can get used to that, especially with kids nowadays. So it's nice, but I do want to get back home eventually one day.
No, I get that. I've never been to Chicago, but I'm guessing the food's great. I'm guessing the atmosphere's great. And I'm sure you're an expert maybe on like pizza joints or things like that. Yeah. Do you have a favorite there?
Pake Foods is up there for me. They intentionally burn their crust on the bottom. And it's got a nice caramelized flavor to it. So don't be afraid of that. Definitely give that a try if you get out there. For deep dish stuff, Giordano's, I guess, would be my choice. But I'm not really a deep dish guy. Not a lot of Chicagoans are, actually, surprisingly. We'll get it, maybe once, twice a year or something. But we love our thin crust. And if you ever get out there, if Father and Son Pizza is still around, check them out.
Okay.
Yeah, and we cut it into squares out there.
Okay, I'm about that life. I'm about that life. I don't pizza. Just I can't. I love pizza too much. I just so thank you for the suggestions.
Of course.
So okay, growing up, were you a Bears fan?
Oh, most definitely. I was 7 years old when the Bears won the Super Bowl back at Super Bowl 20, I think, against the Patriots. And oddly enough, I live out here now, so everybody's trying to convert me to a Patriots fan. Yeah, that's not going to happen though. So I got to stay true to my Bears, and yeah, that's it. But it's crazy because the establishment that I used to work at before, I got to meet almost every single Patriot player for like the last several years.
Wow.
And got to be buddies with a few of them. So they're really nice guys, very nice. Cool. And let me just say, when Tom Brady was here, he is a handsome gentleman.
Okay.
He's handsome. Yeah. In real life, he's
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's okay. Okay. Thank you for that insight.
Of course.
It's I'm sure. I mean, I've never seen him in person, so I just needed that thanks for reassuring us.
Of course. Yeah. It's not all makeup. I got stuck with him in an elevator and he said hello. And I said hello back. I was like, holy shit, it's Tom Brady.
Oh shit. Yeah, that would I don't know if I could even get like hello out. But I'm already awkward enough. I mean, call him Tim or something. I don't know. Okay, so sports are the Bears it, or do you watch other sports as well?
No, I used to watch basketball with my dad back in the 80s and 90s. Being a big Bulls fan back then, especially during the 90s during their three-peat runs there. Was really nice, but it's hard for me to keep up with any other sport really, just because of life in general with work and kids, and then football I just love so much. Baseball, not my thing. Basketball I guess is I'll try to watch it, but it's so hard to keep up with because all these players are going to different teams like every midseason. I don't know, it's too much. Trying to build all these super teams and what have you, and it's just I don't know. And it's a lot of kids coming right out of high school into the NBA now, and I applaud them for that. Hell yeah. But I mean, I think education is a very important thing, but who am I to talk because I didn't finish any of my schooling.
Well, did you have a favorite player growing up? How about that?
Yeah. Jordan, Michael Jordan. Definitely him. He was definitely my favorite player. And then, oddly enough, I love Walter Payton, of course. He was one of my favorites as well. But Barry Sanders from the Detroit Lions is in my top 3 of favorite players, just because I loved when he scored a touchdown. He would not celebrate. He'd give the ball back right to the ref and just go right back to the sideline. Maybe he could give a little high five to his teammates or something. But that was really cool to see because, growing up, you see everybody showboating now and doing these dances. And that's great. You're excited about it, but act like you've been there before, like you're going to come back again. And Barry Sanders, I think, set that precedence for myself, just in a way of life, kind of, not me scoring any touchdowns, but accomplishing something good at work or this or that. And, not gloating about it, but just like, okay, I'm going to do something better next time for you.
And solid picks there. How about growing up? Did you play sports by any chance?
I was like the 5th string quarterback or something back in Pee Wee football for the Mather Park Falcons. If anybody's in the Chicagoland area listening now, that was about it. I did play a little basketball when I was a lot thinner, but now not so much anymore. So not too much in the sporting thing for myself, but watching it, love it.
Well, that's excellent. And another thing, I'm really bad at these, like going on to the next. But look, you have an excellent show that you have put out, and I've been on it, and it's a great show. But
thank you for coming.
Can you let everybody that's listening? Can you let them know exactly what the show is and what it's all about? How did you come up with what it is?
Yeah, so it's I really don't know what it's about, to be honest with you. It's just a ridiculous show with my best friend Philip, and then Brian will come in when he's not working. He's our 3rd co-host. So this started back during the start of the pandemic, and prior to that, Philip and I, when we both lived in Chicago at the time, we were actually doing our own radio show on AM radio. I don't know if you would be familiar with AM FM nowadays. It's a little obsolete, I think, but yeah, and we did a show at this like old retirement home in Oak Park, Illinois, and paid them like $200 to do our show, which was, again, pretty fun because you got to sit in the actual studio and push buttons and everything else. And, we forgot to clean up after ourselves. And we got many phone calls from the owner saying that you can't bring beer and, other illegal drugs at the time in to the studio. So, but yeah, Philip and I did a show back then, and then that's what got me thinking to, during the pandemic stuff, it was just, we were bored. There was not much to do but watch old reruns on TV. With me in particular, I had to sit at a hotel that was completely empty and just manage it for 12 hours in case we had to open for first responders or something. But that was it. So it was just really boring. And I called Philip. I'm like, hey, why don't we start this show? And it's, online, it's on YouTube and whatever else we can put it on. He really didn't understand it, but I got the idea from watching, YouTube shows like fantasy football community stuff and what have you, So I was like, why not? Why can't we do it,
Mm-hmm.
And we did it. And the very first show was a complete disaster. Philip's Wi-Fi was having issues. I had no idea what I was doing, but I think that was probably the funnest show we've ever done so far, though, is the very first episode, because there was like three little parts into it.
That I like when you, oh shit, see, there goes my Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Okay. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. Right on cue. That's another thing I forgot to change because I was going to bring up Wi-Fi because I have my computer usually hooked up with Ethernet, but like I forgot to do that. So if whoops. So
that's okay.
All right. But anyway, so yeah, that first show and going into it, I'm sure you're like a really good at conversation with other people and all that. And did you go into it nervous, or how did you feel going into your first episode?
Not really nervous. It just really not knowing of what I was really doing, and what we were doing with this show. Really, it was, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't say nervous. definitely not nervous. Just not knowing what was going to happen. I guess that's what I was probably nervous about is what direction we were going to go in. But again, right, it was a complete disaster, and that's what made the show what it is today. I guess it needed that perfect storm in a way to get that out of the way and to get the ball rolling on things. But I think that we progressed a little bit here and there. We still have our technical difficulties from time to time, but other than that, and it's just fun. It's good. It's a good time seeing Philip and Brian and every other guest that we bring on. We try to on a weekly basis, like yourself, and numerous other people, and just kind of sit down and shoot the shit with them and have like a bar setting, to where at the time you couldn't go out to a bar or anything, or maybe some new people, and it was just like a nice little hangout thing. So it was a lot of fun, and and we're still doing it now. And it's fun. That's all.
Yeah,
it's fun, and to be honest with you, Kacey, it really depends on the guest on how the show goes, because we can only do so much, I guess, right? But the interactions that you're having with guest X or something might be better next week because guest X, Y, and Z is coming on this one, and you have more of a relationship with them, or maybe you don't have that relationship with them, but you click and you guys hit it off right away, and it's just it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We've had some times where we're like, all right, what the fuck do we do now? Because the guests that we had, I won't mention any names, they were just boom, this stale. I don't know if they had stage fright or something, but we try.
I stage fright I can totally get behind, because especially if it's one of your first times being on a podcast, like just going into it, you're like, so I give people passes sometimes when I'm listening to podcasts, because I'm like, we all, started out in that position, but I'm sure you learned a lot through the last few years that you've been putting out content.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning experience, and and again, dealing with those particular guests, and nothing against them. I mean, shit, I applaud them coming on and trying and stuff, and it's not for everybody. But you kind of know how to steer that ship if you get that feeling where the guest may be drifting off.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand what is if they don't put out content where they're talking with other people, or it's one versus having, multiple people on a podcast. Right. And I've never done a solo podcast, so that's just not my cup of tea. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
And having your friends be a part of it, it's got to feel like these guys are the guys. Like, could you imagine having anybody else as a host with you?
Not really, to be honest with you. I mean, Philip has been, my, how do I say? He's been a brother to me, basically, for the past 20 plus years, from however long we've known each other. And he just makes it so much better and so much more easier and more comfortable for me. Sometimes, I don't get nervous, but that anxiety and that buildup and stuff, maybe it's a little bit of nervousness, but again, I don't like to say that I get nervous. It's just the build up to things and stuff. And then, Philip just making me feel so comfortable because I know that I can lean on him and vice versa on his end,
And that's great. I mean, to be able to have that on a show, and it comes across when people are listening that you guys are, a tight-knit group.
Right.
But how do you come up with the topics that you're going to have each week?
So that's always a challenge for us. So when, we'll read out. So I'm the one who only is responsible for bringing any guests in, because Philip doesn't really do this social medias too much. Nor does Brian. Brian's on Instagram here and there. And then Philip, I think, is on Twitter, but he's not following anybody right now, which I applaud.
Yeah.
And the reason is, I don't know. He just wants to follow one person, and that's it. So I don't know.
Do you know who the one person is?
He's not following anybody yet.
Okay.
He
is he going to figure it out?
Somebody at one point. I hope so. I was hoping for a follow back from him, but he didn't do it. So it's like, all right, it's okay.
We'll just keep an eye and see if there's any activity over there on his Twitter.
Yeah, maybe. I think he logs in maybe like once a year or whatever.
Once a year. Okay.
Yeah.
So coming up with topics.
topics.
It's
It's interesting. It's tough. One, because we try to be kind of safe with what we want to discuss and not, if it was just me and Philip, we'd be fine. We'd be able to talk about whatever. But, we have to keep in mind, we've never met this guest, that whoever we're having on, and they're a guest, and, we interact with them on the socials and stuff, but we want to be mindful and not try to disrespect them in any way or make them feel uncomfortable with whatever kind of topic we're going to discuss. But Philip and I will bounce off ideas to each other throughout the week, and one of us will be like, oh no, I don't like this one, let's put that, save that for another show for another guest when they come. That might be better. But it's a lot of me going outside and sitting down and then having a smoke or two of some other things, and then just imagining what I would want to talk about, I guess. So yeah, it's a little bit of both for everybody, for me and Philip. But it's sometimes it's too hard to even go with it. So I think, we've done a couple of Pictionary episodes, Wheel of Fortune, I think. What else have we done? I don't know, the best French fries. I don't know where we come up with this, but we do. So, but yeah, it's, and I guess, is it, whatever's going on in pop culture nowadays, maybe.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of take our own twist and make fun of it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, it's entertainment, and it's entertaining and fun, like you said. So that's very important.
Yeah.
How do you reach out to guests when you want somebody to come on, or how did they find you?
I'll just interact with them on the Twitter or whatever other social media things are out there, and just, shoot them an email or something, or a DM rather, and just be like, hey, we have these dates open. We'd like for you to be a guest, blah blah blah. If you want to come, great. If not, no harm, no foul. And 99% of the time, people are very receptive to it and want to come. So yeah.
Do you ever have to work with people's schedules, or because I know you have a specific time at night, but do you ever have to work?
It's for the people who live in Australia, it's a little tougher for us.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of guests from Australia on a few occasions on the show. But like, if anybody like in Europe that I've talked to, and there's a guy in Ireland who I want on the show as well. And actually, we had this guy from Ireland on the show, Husey. And it was like, I don't know, whatever time it was, 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. I can't remember there. But yeah, it's always tough scheduling wise with people like overseas, like in a completely different time zone. But for the most part, no, it's pretty good, because we go, we do it live every Wednesday nights now. We used to do it Tuesdays, but because of work, I had to switch some things around. So Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. And we may miss a Wednesday here and there, but I'll always post something like, hey, I'm doing something with the wife this week, no show, or we're just taking a break. So, but we try to do it every week.
And I like that you said that, like, I'm going to do something with my wife, because you think that you get into putting out content or whatever, and that you're not going to be able to balance it.
Yeah.
So how do you balance all of that? Like you said, I mean, sometimes you guys take a week off or whatever, but how do you make sure that you don't get too burned out or can't spread it out how it should be?
It's not really so tough if you have a very good support system. Like, my wife loves that I do this, and supports me in every single way. So having that alone, right there is just, it's great. If she didn't like it, we probably wouldn't be doing the show anymore. She's definitely the boss. She's the one who runs the show here. But yeah, no, it's fairly easy, I guess, if you have that support and backing from your loved ones and whoever, and then just trying to keep that balance. I mean, with work, I'm always off on 2 particular days, so that's why we chose Wednesdays now. And it's early enough, and I don't think there's anything going on TV on a Wednesday night. So
no,
there's besides like basketball or something, maybe hockey.
Yeah, I'm sure those will be on. Yeah,
right. But yeah, like I don't know. I guess the bigger stuff, like the football stuff,
like the stuff you care about.
right. Exactly. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so football and fantasy football. How did you find out about the fantasy community and fantasy Twitter and all of that?
How was it? I think it was through a friend. Who was it? I think the very first person I started watching, to be honest with you, is Stepmom Lauren.
Oh yeah.
She, yeah, definitely. Love her to death. And old friend of mine kind of put me onto her and said, "Hey, check this out. The new fantasy thing that people are doing nowadays. You can just watch and it'll give you advice." I'm like, "What the fuck is this? This is great." So yeah, I started watching her, and that was pretty much it from there. I mean, that opened up a big rabbit hole where I found people like you and some of the guys from the Undroppables and Sons of Dynasty, and Detroit Beastie, just to name drop here. So yeah.
Yeah, there's so many awesome people out in the, not just industry people, but just like fantasy football in general, just out there on Twitter. I would have never imagined, and I'm sure there's plenty of people I don't even know.
Right.
But you've been like known to be at the Fantasy Football Expo, and you've been, I mean, I've met you a few times in person, which that's like, I'm dropping Jemo's name over here, but let me pick that up real quick. I met Jemo a few times, but yeah, so to see a group of people come together like that for, a hobby for most of us, like, what goes through your head when you see that for the first time?
In the beginning, I thought when I first went to Canton, I think it was the first year that they had that, right? And we met that year, was it? Or we met 2 years in a row.
We did the last 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I thought it was going to be like this Dungeons and Dragons kind of convention to where I just didn't want to be there or anything, but putting the face behind the name or whatever, meeting them finally in person, you know what I mean? Versus just a little avatar and little DMs or interactions you have on Twitter or whatever, was really cool. There's a few people that I don't really care for though, I won't leave them out, and but and that's the other thing is like these people who do take this the fantasy stuff very seriously and are getting paid for it. I applaud them for that, but there's some out there who just are looking for clout, I guess, and those are the people I don't really care for. And, seeing there's a lot of good and bad in the fantasy community, and that's some of the bad,
Yeah, I think, because I'm not in other communities, if you would say, but I watch people put out content, and I feel like there's a lot of that in like all the different spaces of, and are you genuine or are you not? Like,
exactly, yeah. Or are you just copying and pasting what the next guy said, and yeah, of course you have to talk about whatever the big news is, but having your top 10 list of players mimic, company A, B, and C, exactly yours, and come up with your own shit, Yeah.
So do you put out fantasy content, or have you put out fantasy content?
So I do it as kind of a joke in a way, and no disrespect to anybody in the fantasy community or to you, Kacey.
I don't write anymore.
Yeah. So every year I'll put out like the Icon top 10 or something of my players, of the top 10 fantasy players and stuff. And obviously, it's just I'm way off on some of them. I think I had David Montgomery because I'm a Bears fan in like the top 3 fantasy stuff this year, but obviously that didn't happen. But I remember I had Devontae Adams listed at like number 5 or 6 or whatever, and people I didn't even know on Twitter were just bashing me for that. I'm like, why are you coming at me?
You're like, man, I'm just trying to have a good time here.
That's all. I mean, if anybody knows me, exactly. I'm just trying to have a good time. What the fuck do I know about fantasy football? But sure enough, at the end of the season, I think Devontae Adams finished right where I had him. And then, I of course I had to call out the people who called me out for, saying I was an idiot or something. But yeah, crickets after that. Crickets after that.
It happens. Definitely. So, but as a consumer of the fantasy football product, of the stuff that people put out, what kind of content do you look for when you're ingesting all this stuff?
So I like to watch it because I like to see, again, I like to put a face behind a name,
Right.
For whatever reason. I don't know why. Don't know why, but I just want to see who's talking and what they're all about, I guess, and see their mannerisms and kind of, I think I may do that just so I kind of, I guess, critique them to see what I would maybe kind of borrow from them and maybe not do what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
on a live setting because of my show, I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I do that. Maybe that's why I like to people watch, I guess.
Yeah, you had asked me before we got started on the show, if why I don't live stream these
Right.
or why I haven't put out the video or whatever. Because I
Yeah.
do have a lot of videos from prior episodes, but I don't know. I'm just an old school person. I'm like,
Yeah.
but
And that's okay. That's okay.
but I was talking about maybe we were talking maybe doing a live one of these. I know maybe around the Scott Fishbowl time there might be something like that going on. I don't know. These are just
Mm-hmm.
little rumors I hear and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, I hope
so
they come true.
me too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of content do you like to take in when you're not taking in fantasy football information?
Music, anything live music related, or acoustic, anything just different from whatever the studio version is. Maybe even listening to a couple of different covers that people are putting out there to somebody who's got like 20 what is it, followers on YouTube? What do you or subscribers, right? I don't even know.
Oh, I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't. Another reason I don't.
They maybe have 20 subscribers and like just a handful of views, but their rendition of whatever cover song they're doing is just so fucking beautiful, and they'll like that and support those kind of people, rather than the ones that have a million followers or
Right.
subscribers already and are, and good for them. Good for them. They're making a killing on that, and I applaud them for that. Maybe who knows? We don't want any kind of sponsorship on my show. I think we've turned down a couple of people just because they wanted me to change a few things, maybe not smoke as much or don't say this. I'm like, look, I'm not, unless you're paying me whatever my salary is at work, I'm not doing that for you. You can keep your, few $100 or whatever they were offering us a month. And yeah, that's okay. We're sponsor free.
It's okay. I'm basically am too. I mean, I have wonderful and ad drop right here. I do have a sponsor. I don't really have a sponsor, but I try to hustle every now and then. And
of course, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Definitely nothing wrong with that.
I know you have dope merch that I got a shirt from you one year and stickers and all that fun stuff. Like, how cool is it to have like a brand?
It is very cool, and actually, I'm going to be telling you this first. So Jemo The Icon is actually in process of being trademarked.
Oh,
so whatever that means. I worked with Nick from the Undroppables.
Okay.
Chalk on Twitter, I guess, and I guess he's a lawyer for that stuff. So that's been in the works for a while, and I guess it's a long process. So it should be coming very soon, and maybe some new merch will be dropping.
I like to hear. I mean, can't go wrong with merch. It's
a lot of fun.
The icon part of Jemo The Icon, where did that come from? What's the origination of that?
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you asked, because a lot of people think it's like a joke or kind of me being a pompous asshole, maybe, I at actually the expo in Canton, I got to meet a few people and interact with them, and they, we actually are cool, but they didn't like me because of Twitter, because I'm Jemo The Icon, and how dare you call yourself an icon? Who do you think you are? But after talking to them, we're all good friends now, so they understand why. But the icon thing came up, I guess, just from me growing up and what I've been through in life. I mean, I still have, it's not anything horrible or bad. I wasn't abused as a kid or anything like that. Both my parents are still living. They brought me up nicely, Eastern European parents. Me, I did choose kind of the wrong path growing up, though, and I never finished school. I got my GED from the Department of Corrections. I was a bad kid, and leading up to things, I was like, shit, what's going to happen to me? So I kind of turned to music, and that kind of took off a little bit. I was a singer of a semi-successful band in Chicago, and we had some things in the works, and I found out that I was going to be a dad. I was like, shit, this isn't, I can't be in a band now with, being on the road eight months out of the year, and then, trying to be a first-time father. So, I don't know. I guess the Icon name just came up with everything that I've been through and have overcome in a way. Again, nothing too bad, but little things that may affect people differently, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Everybody is. I don't. I don't want to piss anybody off, and I don't want to say they're too sensitive or too. Everything's just a little fluffy now, if you know what I mean. You got to be very careful with what you say now versus
a different time when we were growing up, or when we were teenagers, or even in my 20s, the same thing. And then I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like every to be where it's weird. Just I'm 39 now, and I'm like, man, I've seen so many changes.
25. Come on.
I appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, to see the changes just in everything, and to see like, or I don't know if you do this where you look at somebody that's 10 years younger than you and you're like, what the hell are they wearing? And then you're like, oh my God, I'm my parent. Like, what is going on?
No, it's insane. I look at my 15-year-old, my boy, he's a freshman in high school. It's like, holy shit, I'm old now, and it's like the stuff that he's wearing and listening to. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I was like, what? But I don't know. Yeah, I guess, I'm calling myself my parents now, so but back to the whole Icon thing. Again, just what I've been through and what I've overcome in life, and losing things, and one day I'll put out a book, I guess, so everybody will kind of deep dive into there. But and then I got tattooed on my fingernails, or not my knuckles here and stuff.
Yeah.
So I gotta go.
Look at you, knuckle tattoo.
Yeah, I love the knuckle tattoo.
How does a knuckle tattoo feel to get when you?
It's not bad. It's not bad. No, the one on the elbows hurt the most, though.
Yeah, I heard that. I don't have any tattoos on my elbows, but like they look cool, but I just don't know. Like I'm such a baby as it is.
No, do it. It's just when they start doing the outline of the tattoos, that you don't feel anything. It's pretty much numb by then, so you're fine. It's the outline that kind of gets me for a second, Yeah,
it's really. I think it's all in my head, because once you get there and have it done,
right. Have you ever been to Vegas?
Have I? I was just there last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you go to that $10 tattoo place?
No.
Okay, there's a $10.
Should I have gone to a $10? I don't know if it sounds great or not.
I'll give you a review of this. I'm going, I think, at the end of next month.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, then you will have to give me a review, because $10 tattoo doesn't sound. I don't know. I need to know the logistics behind it.
Yeah, I guess they're known for that. So there's a wall of $10 tattoos that you can pick from. Not that I suggest anybody just walk into a tattoo parlor and pick something.
Just pick a tattoo. Right. I mean, do what you gotta do.
Yeah. But then they have a $10 one, a $20 one, 30 and up. So they have this whole wall, and I'm thinking to myself, I always wanted to get like a sleeve, and I'm just kind of, I've got these miscellaneous and random tattoos just everywhere. It's like I'm gonna go ahead and pick whatever full wall they have of the $10 tattoos and just stick it all on my arm.
Okay.
Every one of them. Why not? Yeah.
Okay. Well, you will have to. We'll have to do like an update to the Jemo episode to be like, all right. So how did it go? Let me see.
Yeah. We'll have you back for that when you come back.
Yeah.
Come on my show for that.
Okay. We'll talk. So you brought up having kids, and you're a family guy, I'm guessing.
Yes.
So what do you guys like to do in your free time when you aren't working and aren't, having your show go on?
Oh, we love taking the dog out for a walk in any kind of weather. She's a Siberian Husky and is a part of our family now. We've had her since I don't know, 8 months now or so, something like that. So she's fairly new. She was just under a year, but my wife wanted another baby or a puppy. The very next day I went out and got the puppy.
Okay.
We have three beautiful children. My oldest is 15 he'll be next week, and then my daughter is 4, and then my other son is 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have a puppy. And how has the puppy behaved?
Oh, she's awesome. She's awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Very good.
I got a puppy and I suggest never. He's 4 now and I'm still like, really?
Yeah,
Never.
he's a big boy too. I've seen the photos of him. Yeah. What's his name again?
Ty.
That's right.
Ty.
Yeah, he's a handsome fellow.
A little tiger.
Yeah.
Walking dog. And you should come over and walk our dogs because I hate walking the dogs. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
and then one of them just got hip dysplasia. So now they're like, you can walk her, but on grass and make sure that I hate it. So
no.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
so just walking the dog, hanging out, being outside with them as much as I can. Because me growing up, I didn't have, my dad was just constantly working and stuff. So I didn't have that father figure too much in my life. And I get why, but I trying to put my hand in everything that they're doing, with schoolwork or whatever it is. And let me tell you something, Kacey, math nowadays for high schoolers.
Oh God.
Forget it. I don't know how they do it. I can't even help them.
I couldn't do math in high school. I cried when my parents, my dad would sit down with me and try to teach me math, and I'm crying. I guess it's probably like the same situation. He's probably like, kids nowadays learn math freaking crazy ways.
Yeah, it's insane. I can get them the answer, but I can't show them the way that I got it because it's not the way they do it. So so I stay away from the math problem parts, even in the preschoolers.
Wow. Even the preschool. They're like Adam showing their work and doing all these crazy things. Okay. So leagues that you're in, do you have a preference? I know you said that you're a redraft guy, but is there anything like specific that you really like having as part of a league that you're in?
I love the super flex. The 2 quarterback system. Is it 2 QBs and then super flex, right? That's how they word it.
Yeah, so 2 QBs is you have to start 2 QBs, and then super flex is you can start a quarterback.
But it's basically you're starting two quarterbacks.
Yeah, you are, unless you're like, unless weird. Yeah, but
if you don't have enough quarter. But super flex, I love it. You can definitely do without the defenses. What else? I prefer the sleeper app. I'm partial to that one. I like that one a lot. It's very easy to use, simple. The one I don't like too much is ESPN for some reason. Don't know why, but no.
I use that for my home league, but mainly because we started on ESPN. But also, I don't. I'm on so many different platforms. Like it just doesn't matter. And ESPN's nice, but we live draft. And this year we didn't have an actual board, so we were hoping that there was a draft board on there, and there wasn't a draft board on there. So that really like screws with you when you're trying to figure out who's been taken, who's not been taken. What does this team need? What does that team need?
Exactly. That stinks. But I do like doing the live drafts, like the in-person ones, and just, having some food and drinks and whatever else, and then talking shit to all your buddies and what have you. It is nice. I haven't been to a live draft in some time, though. I think just before COVID started. But hopefully we'll have one this year. Yeah, definitely. Try to get back into it because it is so much fun. It's something that I look forward to every year, too. So totally get that. Very good. And you love the Cowboys, right? Yeah. I'm in the Dallas area. So yeah. All right. Well, good luck to your Cowboys. Good luck to your Bears too. Yeah, I know. I mean, you said, well, when they won their first Super Bowl, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, when I was a kid, the Dallas Cowboys set me up, and then it set me up for failure. Basically, you can't do that to a person
you had a nice
that
run.
young. Yeah, I wish I could remember more of it. Okay, so do you know how many leagues you're in? Are you one of those people? But no.
Yes, I do. So,
Is it too many?
It was every year. I always told myself I'm going to, take off from a couple of leagues and everything. So at one point, I think it was again during the start of the pandemic stuff because nobody had anything to do. I was in like 49 leagues, which is way too many. Way too many. But again, there wasn't much to do during that time.
Yes.
And then I kind of, went down a little bit more year after year. So right now I think I'm in 6 leagues, maybe 5, So I cut down drastically, just because of time,
Yeah.
and
Time.
any leagues that it's like a donation league or a charity league or whatever. I love joining those. You set your lineup, forget it's the best ball thing stuff. There's a couple of people that do that. Those I'll always join and always contribute to. But yeah, any other money ones, it's like, okay, my wife's like, listen, you can't be spending.
Yeah, I feel good when they're the charity leagues. I'm like, I can tell my wife, yeah, but the money's for charity, so
exactly.
Then I can play in more leagues. But I totally feel you about the COVID and joining more leagues kind of thing. I'd like to see the numbers of how many how many leagues were formed and then how many people left those leagues once everything started going back to what it was, so it's like, but I mean, but you brought that up as well as like a time period that you started your show was around, when the pandemic first was. And I feel like a lot of people started putting out content around then, meeting each other, or just even just having friends on, Twitter, but that kind of stuff. And to see that surge was awesome. Is there somebody out there that you follow or that you like their content that you haven't been able to get or not been able to get, but haven't gotten on your show or would like to in the future? Maybe it doesn't even have to be, it doesn't even have to be an analyst or anything like that. It could be whoever comes to mind.
Yeah. Let me see. Well, I'd say 98% of the people of our guests on our show are from the fantasy football community.
Yeah.
And I thank everybody who has been on the show. So thank you very much. And I thank the football community for coming on as well. For that stuff, because it's great, I guess, getting them out of their realm in a way, getting to know the real person behind, all the stats and what have you. So yeah. But one person who I would love to have on my show, I'm a big fan of, is Seal. The Kiss from a Rose guy.
I saw your tweet about the tickets and everything.
For fucking $650, man. And then he's got a meet and greet for $350, where it's not. There's no ticket involved, so you get to meet him, but you have to buy a ticket to meet him in addition to having the meet and greet.
You better have a damn real Seal with him if I'm having to pay that much.
I remember seeing him back in Chicago, and it was like $20 or $30 or something. And I went alone because none of my friends wanted to come with me. They're like, "Fuck you! I'm not going to see Seal with you." All right, yeah, enjoy him, and I would love to have Seal on one day.
How did you brought up that 98% of the people that come on the show are in the fantasy football community? How did you gravitate towards those people, and because they were giving you information, or it was
and they were very interactive with you. It's not like you would ask somebody a question and put it out there or send a tweet out and be like, what's do you want to start player A, B, C, or D? They would actually reach out and help you and kind of guide you through it, like, oh, this is really cool, they're taking time out of their day. And I don't know how big or popular these people are. Why are they talking to little old me? I'm just dad from Massachusetts now with 3 kids, and I just like fantasy football. But yet this person's taking their time out of their day, who has 20,000 followers or whatever, to tell me who to start. So that's pretty cool to see people with those kind of numbers, like be humble and be interactive with little people like me. So it's nice, but it's those other ones that get me though. I think that they are good, but they're not.
Well, you don't sound like you have any sort of chip on your shoulder or anything. Yeah, I don't. No. Well, okay, but yeah, when you're talking about these people being down to earth and actually, I remember that so vividly when I first got into the fantasy football community, because being a consumer of the stuff and having the people that are putting out the content talk to me and really care, seem like they care, and not just that they're just saying something to say something. That's cool to see. So
that is, and they're not 90% of them are not fake. They're legitimately care for you. There's a handful of people out there that are really awesome and genuine people, and I love that, and that's what the fans community is all about, is those kind of people, not the ones who are pretending to be those kind of people.
At the very end of this podcast, he's going to be like, by the way, I was talking about you the whole time.
Yeah,
huh? No, okay. But talking about the good part of the community, and like Scott Fishbowl being such an important part. And yes, great guy, name dropped all the time on the show and been on the show. And he's just a wonderful human being, as you know, a lot of people in the community are. But like Scott Fishbowl is just, to steal a word from you, iconic. I mean, it's an icon. When I think fantasy football, that's one of the things that I think about. And I know that a lot of people don't even know what the Scott Fishbowl is that play fantasy football. So for somebody that's been in the Scott Fishbowl, how many times have you actually participated?
So this was year 2. So I went, what was it? It's 11 and 12, I think. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's, the upcoming one's 13. So I was, gracious enough to get into both of them. You're at 11 and 12, and it was a lot of fun. My first year, I think I won 1 game. But again, all for a good and great cause. And then, getting to meet new people and interacting with them, because who would have? I would never talk to somebody in Delaware. Whatever league I was in with them or division and stuff. So, but it's great because again, you get to meet these new people and interact with them, and again, it's for charity, so it's really cool. And then the next year, this past year, I think I won like 6 games or something, but I didn't understand the concept of the standings, and maybe I'm an idiot, and I think that I am. Because I heard people saying, "Oh, I went 15 and 10, and I'm in the playoffs." I'm like, "How the fuck? What does 15 and 10 mean?"
I don't even. My brain can't even right now. Yeah. But I don't know. I just kept looking and refreshing and just letting Scott tell me what I needed to know.
Exactly. So I made
Thanks,
sure I
Scott.
set my lineups, and
yes,
that was that. Started 2 kickers at one point, I believe.
Oh, see, there's kickers do matter. So was going into the Scott Fishbowl kind of, how did you feel with like the scoring settings and everything? Because they change every year and they're a little different.
They do. Yeah. And I think they're tight end premiums, right? And they're always tight end premiums, I think. So I always chased after the, big name tight end. And who did I have this year? I had Trey Lance, which really didn't do me any justice. And then Justin Herbert, who did so this year, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't even name a player in the NFL right now. I swear. It's been one of those days. I'm like, Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker. Yeah.
No, there we go. No.
There we go. Yeah. Very good. What do you think about my Bears this upcoming? What do you think they should do in the draft? Because I've heard rumors that they may trade Fields, and me personally, I don't think
they should do that. I don't know. I've been so taking time off from writing art content. You kind of like lose a step on what's going on. I'm still like 3 years ago in my head as what the Bears are, and it's like that's not, But no, I think I wouldn't go after a quarterback. Just stop. Stop. Yeah. Like enough is enough already, right?
I mean, Fields would be the 101 if he were in this draft class. I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
I'm so bad at I love to play Dynasty, but I'm so bad at knowing anything about rookies or knowing anything about the incoming class, this, that, and the other. And people are like planning out like 5 or 6 years. This guy's still in high school. My brain, I barely remember what team some of these guys play for anymore. Like, I'm like, wow. He's not still with Atlanta. Yeah. They're like, no, that's been like 3 years ago. Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. It's the Dynasty stuff. I don't know how you do it, but I gave it a shot, and it's tough, and I applaud you for doing that. It's just
you have to find the right balance of everything, and exact all of mine are the same commish because I control, I can, and it's not too complicated and this, that, and the other stuff. Yeah. Dynasty is a whole different beast. And when I first started playing Dynasty, I was real scared about everything, right?
Yes.
How do you find leagues though when you go to join leagues? Do you just find them off of Twitter, or how do you find different leagues?
People will just ask me to join, and I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the way that I accumulated to be in so many other leagues.
Well,
Yeah, they weren't too happy when I was leaving though, but I paid my dues.
You paid your dues, and you
paid my
didn't
dues.
screw up the league.
No.
Didn't screw up anything.
I may have messed something up for Chalk in one of his leagues from the Apples with me trading whatever my draft picks were, but then leaving a month later. But again, I think
what not to do.
Don't do that. But I think I paid my the next guys, whoever's gonna take over my team, I think I paid their way in. So yeah.
I can't remember the last time I left a league, not like to say that but I left a bunch of leagues all at once, and it was because of this whole pandemic over with, having to go back to work and be in an office instead of being at the house and getting to, take my lunch when I wanted and stuff. So and but is there any type of league or setting that you haven't played in that you would at least try?
No, well, this year I got into my first IDP league, and I never did that before, and I'm never doing that again. I can't. I mean, I couldn't tell you a defensive player from any team probably right now. I know Mike Singletary from the Bears back in the 80s. That's about it.
That's about it. Yeah. I already have a hard enough time learning names on offense and then to throw. But I feel like there's two sides, because there's the super, super, super IDP fanboy and fangirl. And then there's the people that are like, nope, played it once. Nope, not doing it again. There's no middle ground, I don't think, but
no. And I imagine being in a dynasty league with IDP and all this other stuff. It's like, I don't know.
I don't have enough time, like you said. Time is, and if I did, I don't know if I'd want to spend it I don't know, with the rules in all different leagues being so different, and the different platforms, like you brought up. It just sucks having 5 different apps on your phone, 5 different websites.
Exactly. Yeah, the scoring settings for everybody.
It's different. It's fun, but at the same time, if I have extra time, I'm not going to spend it on doing that.
Yeah, no.
So that's just me. I'm just saying. I feel like I'm knocking everything that people are listening to this show right now, and they're like, but I like that aspect.
Just blame me. Just blame me. It's okay.
Jemo brings out that side, so what are you going to do?
That's it.
So, okay. I guess since this is more of a fantasy football show, that we don't talk fantasy football, but we talk about fantasy sports and stuff. Have you ever even attempted to play a different fantasy sport?
I tried fantasy baseball one year, and I think I quit midway through the season. I didn't understand it at all.
Yeah, I get that. Most people that I have on the show that say they play fantasy baseball, they're like, yeah, it stopped. But I'm trying to get more fantasy baseball people on this show, because I think it'd be cool to talk to other people in other sports, that do other sports.
Love to
know
meet
people.
Somebody who would love to discuss fantasy baseball, because I'm very intrigued on how they do everything, because you set your lineup and then it's every 3 days or something. I don't know. The pitchers are always different.
You're like, with football, it's pretty easy on when to set a lineup.
Right. But the football part is a daily thing. You got to keep up with all the injuries and news and updates. And, is this guy starting over this guy now, or whatever the case may be, and waiver wires and stuff like that. So it's a daily thing. And again, that's why going down from X amount of leagues to just a handful now is hopefully going to be nice for me, and maybe dominate next season.
Wow, you can focus. And are you a fan of making trades in leagues?
Oh, I'm a big trade person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love to trade. And again, it may look very silly that I'm trading Lamar Jackson for, I don't know, Justin Fields or something. But and again, it's redraft, but I did that and I wanted him, and it actually worked out in my favor this year. because Fields tore it up, and Lamar unfortunately was hurt for most of the season.
Because I have a hard time in redraft getting people to actually make trades with me. It's pretty easy in Dynasty if you go back and forth, but I feel like in 1 year league, and then the communication and everything's not there like it would be in a league that you're in for, the same players ever.
Sure.
But how do you go about bringing up a trade?
I'll look like if I'm in love with one of my opponent's players, I'm gonna definitely 100% try again. Yeah, 100% try again. Not definitely, but I'm 100% getting him. And I'll look at what his needs are. Like if he's a little weak at running back, and I'm a little bit stronger, but if I lose my big strong piece for that running back to make his running back room better, just so I can get my guy, I'll do it. And maybe tinker around with some of the bench players or something like that, but something that'll kind of make it work for a little bit of both of us, and maybe giving up a little bit too much if I need to, if I really, really love this player and want him on my team. So, and it's all luck really, because an injury can happen at any point in time. The guy who you think is going to be great, it can just suck for the rest of the season. Who knows? Or his backup might be a lot better. I don't know. It's just all based on luck, I think. So it's just going with your gut, really.
If you were allowed to trade in Scott Fishbowl, do you think that you would try to do that?
Most definitely. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Especially with all the injuries I had on my team this year. And then, going through that, the waiver wire on there with slim pickings.
Slim pickings, indeed. It always sucks when you're like, okay, I can see that this isn't going to go well for me. I'm not spending $90 on, some Cooper Rush or something.
I'd rather start 2 kickers and get guaranteed points there.
Yes. See, and strategy there. I like it. Because I kind of was like, maybe I'll just put in a kicker. I don't need to put in a quarterback.
Well, talk to Scott and see if we can do trading next year.
We'll have to really kind of plant some seeds. We'll just have to see what we can do.
Yeah.
But I know he's probably like, okay, that's enough. I've already got enough crap that I have to do in that league.
I'm sure.
Oh, man. Love you, Scott. Well, before you go, it's been really great getting to talk to you and actually get to know more about you. I wanted to talk to you just one last question about before we get into, you plugging stuff, but you brought up music, you listen to music, you performed music. Do you have favorite band or favorite album or anything like that?
Yeah. So I love that whole Seattle grunge sound thing. Nirvana, Pearl Jam were my top faves before the Beatles. I love the Beatles because they were constantly playing in my home when I was a kid. My mom used to love them a lot, and she was a big John Lennon fan. So hi, Mom. And who else? And now more so, I listen to a little bit of everything nowadays. I love, even back in like 80s and 90s, I always loved East Coast hip hop. I think that, West Coast is okay, and then, they've got the little thing going on there. It's cool. It's just not really my cup of tea. I respect it and everything like that, but I love East Coast hip hop. Like A Tribe Called Quest, Equal Planets. The guy from De La Soul just passed away recently.
I know. I saw that.
Yeah. It's very sad. Very sad.
It's such a good band.
Yeah.
Rap groups. You just A Tribe Called Quest,
yes.
And I like that your musical taste is like all over the place and not like tiny little box.
Yeah, no. The only thing is country. I can't get behind country. I respect their musicianship and everything. My wife's a big country fan, but I can't do it.
That seems to be a lot of people. And I'll listen to anything but country.
Yeah.
And if you say that in Texas, then you get lots of looks like.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Why the hell are you here? Okay, Jemo, I've had a blast talking to you, like I said, and it's been so awesome getting to catch up because it's been too long since I've actually got to talk to you. But can you go ahead and just let everybody know where they can find you, what you got going on?
Yeah, sure. So what is it? You just type in Jemo The Icon on Google and things will pop up.
Jemo The Icon on Google and things will pop up.
That's it. Yeah, there's the Twitter, the Twitch. I don't even know where. We're not on the Facebook though.
Not on the Facebook.
No, not on the Facebook for some reason. I don't know why. Just never got around to it.
It's okay. A lot of people aren't on the Facebook anymore.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But Twitter and YouTube, we're having a little battle with our show because they've taken down a few
see.
of our shows. Yeah,
there's some I hear that YouTube's that might be another reason. I'm just
yeah, I don't know. So we're searching for other avenues to kind of broadcast the show from, and it's a little work in progress. But for now, we'll stay on the YouTube, and if they block us, they block us. If they don't, they don't. You can catch us on Twitter and whatever little clips I'm doing on Instagram and Twitter, I guess. Yeah.
And no matter if it's YouTube or go somewhere else, you're always going to have fun with it. So that's the only thing. That's the thing that matters. So wherever you are, we're going to have fun.
That's it. Kacey, you are amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh man, thank you. And really thanks. Nice. And I wanted to thank everybody for listening, for sure, because I thank you guys every single time you listen, but it means a lot with the Fantasy Sports Writers Association nomination for this podcast and for everybody that just sends me a message saying that they listened. I just appreciate you guys more than you even know. Just wanted to put that out there because anyway, everybody that's listening right now, make sure that you come back the next time I drop one of these, which who knows when it will be, but come back and make sure that you remember to stay rad.